Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming along to the party for another episode. I appreciate you immensely. But straight up, before we get into today's show, some real talk. Most of you probably won't have noticed, but I went from dropping content consistently week on week, shows and daily clips on socials, and last week that stopped. I just wanted to be super open. I recorded some shows to be released, but I was far from proud of them. I already have far more people listening to this than I ever thought would, and to be quite frank, I didn't want to risk putting out subpar content where I can't find the right words, phrases, or messages to deliver for you. I just want to own it. Not for pity or to apologise for missing a week, just to be honest about life. All the shit I share is tried and tested on me, and an off week for me 6 years ago was every week. And to be frank, what has happened in the last couple of weeks would have lasted months, if not years. But I've learned enough. I use these tools that I share with you today to get back on track, and here I am. Back, baby. But on a serious note, we're about to come into Movember, which is centered around men's mental health. Should I go full tash? Let me know in the comments. If you do want to bounce, ever, find me on socials, drop me a message, and let's talk. Don't suffer in silence. Big love. Let's get into it. Right, listen up, team. Resolutions are dead. In my opinion, they died a long time ago, and I switched to a more progressive and achievable method, in my opinion, to achieve the things most important to me through the year. But we'll look at that in a show closer to Christmas for 2025 prep. But gone are the days of setting resolutions pissed on New Year's Eve and them ending up in the bin for me by New Year's Day. But let's stick to the here and now. Are your resolutions dead for 2024? Did you achieve them? Can you remember what they were? And are you proud of 2024 as a year? Regardless of the answer to these, if you think 2024 is already in the rear view because you ditched your plans, think again. You've got about 900 waking hours left this year. Are you going to let these go to waste? If the answer is yes, just turn off now. Stay tuned for ways to give yourself extra hours to achieve your goals, reframing your failures, establishing what's important in these final months of 2024, and finally, practical, actionable tips to get this shit done. How do you want to be remembered? When I die, I want not to be remembered for how much cash I made, the long hours I spent at work, how much time I spent on Facebook. I want to be remembered for trying to help people. Do I always get it right? No. I guess this is where this show could get interesting. What I explore and share in these episodes, I didn't learn at university from my parents, I lived it. Now let's get on with the show. If I gave you 31 hours for free to play guitar, spend time with your kids, nail that DIY, learn that language, 31 hours, how much value does that add to that activity? Loads. I'm fluent in Cantonese if you give me 31 hours on Duolingo. Would you be average at whatever you invested that time into, or would you be badass by the end of 2024? You might think it's too late, but you can be leveling up. I'm giving you this 31 hours until the end of 2024 by only asking for one thing in return. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier each day. That's it. You won't even feel it. It takes 3 days to shift your body to a new wake-up time, and then there's no looking back. Imagine what you could do with that. Learn a new skill, read those books, or crush your fitness goals. In the words of my absolute man crush, Matthew McConaughey, I'm not going to do an impression. The future is a lot like the present. If you want something different, do something different. Legend. So let's flip the narrative. And flipping back to our last podcast on navigating suffering, the obstacle is the way. If you've binned off 2024 already because you drank too much, ate too much, smoked too much, ate too much paella or on holiday, you only read one book instead of the planned 4. All is not lost. Use this as fuel to nail these last couple of months. It's part of a game that you can still win. Instead of letting any setbacks from 2024 crush you, let them motivate you. So what's unfinished in your 2024 life? You've got to harness those failures. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. And listen, if you've nailed 2024 so far, yes, but this is still for you. This podcast is going to make you come back in 2025 sizzling hot. So, how are we going to come back? There are tips all over this episode, guys. So, get your notes open, Notion, Notepad, whatever you're using. Firstly, we need to know what we're coming back from before we set the comeback. And I have two options for you here. And I'm pushing you back to a previous episode. So if you've not listened, you need to go back. Remember the values exercise we did in a previous show. Apply it here. List your core values and align your goals for the rest of the year with those. Are you spending your time on what truly matters to you? If not, reevaluate and set up the comeback. If you've done that, you can also complement it with this tool. A super basic matrix that I sometimes use in work. Urgency versus importance. Write down your tasks and categorize them. Which tasks are urgent and important? Those are your non-negotiables. Those are the things that if you nail, you're winning the game in the last 10 minutes, or in this case, 900 waking hours. And you know I love to bring a little science to back up my crazy theories. Well, this one is straight out of Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek, the master of getting shit done, the GOAT of getting shit done. He professes that the key to freedom is the 80-20 rule. He wants you to stop wasting time on low-impact actions. And this is actually not coined from Tim, but it's something called the easy for me to say, the Pareto principle. It states that 80% of the results come from just 20% of effort. While originally applied to economics, please do not listen to me for financial advice, guys. So if you've tuned in for that, turn off now. Turn my life around mentally and physically, but don't look at my bank balance. My credit score's only just recovered from my teens. This 80-20 rule thankfully applies across nearly every aspect of life, be it business, fitness, personal development, even relationships. It's about identifying that the small percentage of actions that will give you the most significant results are the most important ones. So let's cut out all the fluff and bullshit. Most of us spend way too much time on things that don't actually matter. You're not stuck, you're just putting your energy into the wrong activities. According to Tim in the 4-Hour Workweek, great book, you should listen or read it, the key to maximizing your productivity is not about working more hours, but about identifying those few actions that will generate the biggest bang for your buck. If 80% of your achievements come from 20% of your actions, why the hell are you spending 80% of your time on distractions? That was a lot of numbers, and I hope you're still with me. Maths was never my strong point, let alone trying to explain it. But let me hit you with a practical example. Think about how this applies to fitness. You could be spending hours running, but if you're only focusing on cardio, you're missing out on strength training and mobility, which can yield faster and better results depending on your goals, may I add. Alex Hormozy is undoubtedly nailed in on productivity and fitness. He talks about high leverage activities, the actions that really move the needle. What's your high leverage activity? If you're trying to hit a fitness goal, that might mean focusing on compound movements in the gym, for example, rather than hours of low intensity cardio. You've got to assign the right amount of time to the right actions. This can't just be a hit and hope. I'm going to read 20 pages of a book every night. You're going to fail that because you're going to fall asleep. You need to smarten up a little bit, and I hope this helps. In a business scenario, 80% of your revenue probably comes from 20% of your clients or products. I've had this over at BMO Travel Company. I've invested hours and hours on things that were generating us zero reach or revenue. What was I doing spending time on things that aren't moving the needle? To round out 2024, the goal isn't to do more at BMO Travel Company, it's to focus on less but more strategically. So how are we going to focus on it from your perspective? You're going to audit your tasks for the next few weeks. What are the things that you're doing every day that are just distractions? What are the few high impact things you need to double down on? Be ruthless about cutting down the 80%. If it doesn't contribute to your top goal for the rest of the year, why are you doing it? Get honest with yourself and be ruthless about cutting out the noise. Some more science for you. Research on decision fatigue shows that the more decisions we make in a day, the worse our ability to make high quality decisions becomes. When you focus your energy on fewer, high impact actions, you reduce decision fatigue and perform better. This is why someone like Steve Jobs famously wore the same outfit every day. It was one less decision for him, allowing him to focus on the high impact 20% of his life. Some more quick wins for you. This could be a career thing. Stop multitasking. Studies show it reduces productivity up to 40%. Focus on one high leverage project at a time. In fitness, swap out long, unfocused workouts for targeted training based on your goal. You'll see bigger results in returns in less time. And in relationships, are you spreading yourself thin across social events or spending quality time with the people that really matter to you? Boom, 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 guys. We're smashing this out the park today, and I'm giving you so much stuff that I know is going to set you up for that comeback or send you into 2025 smashing the shit out of the back end of 2024. I would like to give thanks to today's show sponsors, Being Well Travel Company. Hit them up across all the usual places to get expertly planned trips, deals and experiences around the world that will leave you feeling well. Now, back to the show. Now, I'm getting a bit excitable. How should we temper that excitement? We can't, because we're entering my favourite part of the show. The part where I give you 5 tips, but I feel as if I've spoiled you with tips today because this is the part where I've learned so much. But today I'm going to give you 5 to round off. The truth is, if you do any 2 of them, I'm guaranteeing you that you nail the back end of 2024. Just 2. You've scored an injury penalty time winner, a last minute winner, whatever sport you want to call it in. So remember, 2 of these 5. If you do 5 of these 5, you're coming on the show. First one, set one clear goal. Focus is key, as Ryan Holiday would say. Clarity is power. What do you want to achieve? Define it, and let's get obsessed about it. 2, create non-negotiable time, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour. Dedicate that time to personal growth. No excuses. Remember, Lex Friedman, my guy, emphasizes the importance of discipline in achieving mastery on something. 3, remove friction. Prep your meals the night before. Set your alarm. McConaughey emphasizes the power of delegation. He says, you can't do everything alone. What can you outsource? You can't be doing everything yourself. Next, an accountability challenge. Scream your goals from the rooftops. Accountability is the name of the game. Share your goals and progress. One of the reasons why I share my wake up time every day on social media. That's me shouting about it. It's not for you guys, sorry. It's for me. It's to keep me accountable. Lastly, build a support network. Find people who inspire you. Join a group. Speak to that friend that really gets you going. Before we wrap up with my favourite quote from my little black book. 2 of these 5 actions, guys. Please, come on, get this done. You're 2 steps away from nailing whatever it is you want to nail in 2024. I'm excited for you. Reach out if you want to bounce on it. It's a final push. You can either make 2024 your punching bag or your comeback story. You've got 900 hours on the clock. How are you going to spend them? And remember, time is the only resource that you can't get back. What are you going to do with the hours you have left? I'd love to hear your stories, share your experiences, tag me in your posts, or let me know how you're applying these lessons and tips I've given you in today's pod. And don't forget, the best reflections could be in with a chance of winning a £100 voucher for your next Being Well travel adventure with our podcast sponsors, Being Well Travel Company. Make sure to like, subscribe, and all that stuff as well, guys. I want you to stick around for this and then get going, because if you listen to 2 of these 5, guys, 2 of these 5, and you're smashing it. But before I go, somewhat of a tradition around here. When I was bedridden with a foot-long laceration in my knee post-surgery, I wanted to bring value to my family. During that time, I started a practice. I started to write everything that I'd learned and was learning in a book for my kids. And it's from that book that I share this quote with you to end today's podcast. And I better find the right one now. And this one is actually from Henry Ford. You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. Go smash it, guys. Big love.